asked to kind of get it going, and I hope I don't set a bad example. But I think I thought this was a wonderful book to read, and especially, in my line of work in mental health, we think a lot about identity, and especially racial identity, cultural identity. And for me, I was born and raised in LA. I grew up in Hancock Park. My family was the first non-white family to live in the neighborhood. The girl who would become my best friend, they were the second non-white family to live in the neighborhood, and she was African American. And so I think early on, even though English was my second language, I don't think that I saw myself so much as Asian as not white. Like Karen Johnson and we were not white. And we were always told by our families, you have to behave, you have to be extra careful when you're around the neighborhood. Our lawns had to look extra neat. Everything had to just, kind of be extra. And I think being Chinese is such a part of my identity that I never felt like I had to carve it out. This is who I am. This is what I do. This is who my family is. And I think it was really interesting how Michelle Zauner talked about, having to grapple with that identity. And, Julie and Emile talked about that too, like, different things that are tugging on you. And for me, being 100% Chinese, or I thought 100% Chinese, the odd thing for me was that a lot of times other people who were Chinese didn't think I was Chinese. And then people who were not Chinese thought I was some kind of Asian. So it was, an odd sort of like, well, who am I? But instead it gave me the opportunity to be myself. And that's one of the things that struck me about the book was, she had this like huge like tug of war with her mother and her identity as somebody Korean. And interestingly enough, she didn't have that really with her father. But in the end, she was her. She was a musician. She was, all these different things that were kind of unique to her, even though her path was carved by things. And I think that was kind of my takeaway. But the other part of that is, I'm a mother. I have 4 boys. And, I'm Gen X. My oldest son's a millennial. Then the next 3 youngest ones are all Gen Z. And it's always interesting to me to look at how I pass on culture to my sons and how they create their identity. And I think that's when some of the things she talks about resonate with me, like walking through H Mart and, identifying with the foods and everything, because that's like my hope for my kids. So I'll go to like the Asian grocery store and pick out snacks for them because I'm hoping that this will be enough for them to like tie together with being Asian. And that's also why I'm heartbroken when they don't want to have dim sum with me. So I think that is the struggle. I've understood like my racial cultural identity and how I arrived here, but now my next task is, okay, what about the next generation? What happens there? So that is my human library story, and I'd really like to open it up to anybody else who might want to share. Oh, okay. Oh, fantastic. Okay. So I'd like to invite somebody else to share what their human library story is and extend, what we've gone from this book, share what your narrative is. Yes. Oh, thank you. Yeah, come on up. And, feel free to be as open or candid as you want or to be as surface as you want. The floor is yours.
I've been in education about 23 years. I'm a high school counselor, so I see students all the time. So I'm really excited for this exchange program because it gives us an opportunity as adults to begin to impart how important culture is. So I also am a grandmother of 2. And so I remember as I'm talking to my students in high school, and I've been through a lot of families over the years, and I see a lot of kids, and it's different now with all the social media and the phones and the tech and the TikTok and all those things. It's different now. So when I'm talking to my grandson, he's like, oh, Nana, I don't have time. I'm going to go over here and play whatever game he's playing. And he'll spend hours there. But when him and I are interacting, he doesn't have time. And so it really kind of resonates when she talks about in the book her relationship with her mother in terms of how important culture is. And I just want to let at least the students here know that, don't forget where you come from. It's so important because as you grow and you mature and you have families of your own, you're going to want to impart some of that love and some of that culture to them. Always hold on. Don't be so quick to assimilate to what everyone else is doing. Keep a part of you because remember, you matter and you're important.
Thank you so much. What a wonderful message, important message to share. Okay, would anyone else like to be part of the Human Library? Yes, come on up.
Thanks. I am a child of an immigrant, and I grew up all over the world. My father worked for the United States government. My second language was Japanese. My third language was Spanish, and my fourth was French. My fifth was Hebrew, and my sixth was Korean. So I came to California in 1986 and grew up pretty much in the 4-mile radius of Koreatown, Hancock Park, Fairfax District, West Hollywood. And then I had 3 children who went to a dual language school, 3rd Street Elementary School. And one of the 3 is still fluent in Korean. And I spent many, many days in H Mart with my mom and at the Indian grocery store. And when my kids grew up and went away, I actually decided to go to medical school. And 5 days after I left to go to medical school, my mom died. But I was in the Caribbean. And that's where my mother was born. And that's where I reconnected with the memories, like H Mart, with my mom. And I grew, and I would go to the fish market, which was actually the ocean, and and go and get the fish, and I would pick the breadfruit off of the tree, and the mangoes, and the papaya, and the callaloo, and revisit all of the food that my mother made, and all of the times that we spent in the kitchen, and listening to the accents of the people on that island. And for 2 years, I reconnected with my mom. And it was the most amazing experience. So just as you said, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, you might think, oh my God, I left my mom behind, but she was there. She was there with me, and she still is. I come back to LA, I'm now back, and everything I see, I'm reminded of my mother. And still H Mart, again. God, that book made me so hungry. I was so mad. But to say that you're right, no matter what you do, you always come back home. And no matter where you are, that's your roots, and you'll find them. So,
Thank you so much. Oh, what? We need more stories. I feel, like Sky, I could be here all night. I'd love to hear everybody's stories about this. But I just want to thank you to our two folks who did participate and share their stories. And I want to thank all of you for coming out to be a part of this and to have this understanding of what like different cultures look like, even within that culture, what cultural lenses that we all carry and the impact that has on us. So I will turn it over to Sky. Oh, okay, Pamela.
Thank you, Dr. Wong. And thank you again to our panelists, Julia and Emil, and our moderator, Sky Patrick. Oh, thank you. Sorry. All right. And thank you again to the Korean American Federation of Los Angeles and the cities of Jeonju and Yeoju. And wanted to wrap this up with a call to action for everyone who came out today and who's listening on the live stream. You may have gotten a flyer out at the registration table when you signed in, and you can grab one on your way out. It's double-sided. On the first side, it's the LA versus hate information. Sorry, let me reread. So LA versus hate is a county initiative where you can victims and witnesses can report any hate incident or hate crime in order to receive free follow-up services and supportive resources in your community. And you can do so by calling 211 or visiting the website on the flyer. There's also a QR code. And on the back, Team Mitchell shares their top recommendations for Korean food in our district. So we have, so we encourage you to check out these spots and others, any of your favorite spots in the district. We have Jinjaru, Soban, and Surwan Tofu House. I know that I've personally gone to Surwan Tofu House with some Team Mitchell members, so it has a special place in my heart. And we encourage you to try some new food. And if you go to any of these restaurants or any other Korean restaurants in our district, feel free to tag us on social media at Holly J. Mitchell. And thank you so much for coming here tonight and listening to everyone's stories. Oh, and then Supervisor Mitchell is going to close us out. But thank you so much. Please take a call to action. And, sorry, one last thing. We always ask our participants to fill out surveys at the end of these events so that we really get some amazing feedback that helps us do more and improve upon our events in the future. So please grab a survey on your way out. I have some in my hand, too, that I'll leave out somewhere on the front as well. So thank you so much.
Would you give the panelists a huge round of applause? That was so powerful. And to Team Mitchell, who made all this happen, please. We always try to end with a call to action because it's not just enough to have the experience, but we really need you to make a commitment to the collective us that we're going to do something with what we learned and experienced today. And I wanted to circle back and tell you the book title, Our Hidden Conversations by Michelle Norris. Our Hidden Conversations. And it's based on her decades research with the Race Card Project. The Race Card Project. And the prompt is simple. Race, your thoughts, 6 words. Race, your thought, 6 words. And so I'll share with you, because I did it years ago, and I don't remember what my 6 words were. So when I was looking it up, I went to the racecard.the website and resubmit it. And I just sent my 6 words, which were, is race an artificial construct? No. Is race an artificial construct? No. So you don't have to go to the website, but just think about how you would describe race in your own mind in 6 words. thank you so much for coming and participating and your active listening and your compassionate listening. We really appreciate you. All right, everyone be safe, and we hope to see you at our next Racial Justice Learning Exchange. Do we have a date and a flyer out on it? Stay tuned to our website, and you'll find out when our next convening will be. Thank you so much.